And all of that information is available on the website. Um, you know, he's listed in the board of directors, and you can go click on datametrex.com/team, and you will see a biography there of Mr. Gallagher. He's got about 4 or 5 decades of experience in the market with, working on business and strategic investors, and a lot of know-how on how to do that. He's also the co-editor of the Contra the Herd investment letter in the past 10 years. I think, don't quote me on this, but I think the annualized return on that's about 17, 18%, something like that. So Benj helps out a lot in that sector. And he's been able to open a lot of doors for us too. So go take a look at the website, and you'll see what Benj contributes to the company. There's a blurb on him there. Let me get back to my questions. Okay, so let's move on to I want to move on to a quick update on the COVID stuff we can speak to. So one of the questions is, are the test contracts in Montreal announced by Screen a new contract for DM as well? Yes. So that's the short answer. Screen Pro works with us as their back at all times. So we have actually been doing work in Montreal for quite some time. I would want to say I'd want to say it back to last October, November, something like that. But I'd have to get the invoices out to verify the exact date. But there are ongoing projects in Montreal in addition to Toronto and Vancouver, et cetera, et cetera. So can we provide an update on government rapid testing? No, I can't. Unfortunately, that's in the government's hands. I know that they are doing some tests. I know Quebec is doing some testing with the rapid testing, and I know Ontario is doing some preliminaries with assisted living centers and the rapid testing, but they have not provided an assessment of that just yet. So again, when we're dealing with the government, it's kind of hurry up and wait, I guess is the best way to describe it. You can't really, you'll get contacted, they'll ask you about something, and then they'll go away for 4 months, and that's about it. Okay, so I'm going to move on to a bit of the AI and some of the other stuff we're working on here. So one of the questions comes in is about the press release that we had to release about the furtherance of a particular bid we're in right now. And the question is, the questions are we the majority in the bid? And why are, some of the other companies listed not made anything public? The answers to this are, I can't speak to the constitution or the constituency of that particular bid yet. We will be able to speak to it. It's just a matter of when. Right now, I'm not allowed to speak to that. But eventually that does become material and it has to be disclosed. At this time, though, I'm unable to disclose that, but we will definitely disclose as soon as we're allowed to. Actually looking forward to disclosing on this. So, like I said, as soon as we get there, we get there. Will the snap election have any effect on the award process related to the $40 million COVID? I highly doubt it. I don't see these two things as correlated. Not in the work we do. Uh, we're not really subject to changes at at the federal level with the different competing political parties and stuff. So this work goes on no matter if it's the liberals or the conservatives or the NDP, or it doesn't matter who's in power. This stuff is going to continue. So I'll never say never because, well, who knows, but I highly doubt it. So another question come in is wanting me to talk about the number of AI contracts that are coming in right now. Again, I can't disclose material information in this forum. That will be disclosed as soon as we're allowed to through the PR channels. I'd like to be able to talk about that in this forum, but unfortunately, the exchange rules forbid me from doing so. What are the specific AI plans for focusing its resources and expanding and improving its AI business in 21? Okay, so I'll go through these again. The main focuses right now is, well, you saw in Korea we landed 5 more accounts not too long ago. So that's going to continue as our land and expand strategy over there continues, to bear fruit. So that's 5 more. We're going to continue that. That's going to go on the North American and European side of things. We're continuing the work we are doing moving forward, with previous clients. So that's avenue number 1. That approach will not change as it is a primary driver of R&D for us. And R&D is probably the largest cost we have. And so this effectively pays for R&D, and that's important that we don't have to find other avenues to fund that. The second thing that we are doing, in addition to moving that forward, is we've decided to introduce 2 new verticals that we have been talking about. The first vertical is telehealth and online medicine, and we've talked about that with Medicall. There's going to be material coming out about that in the next couple weeks. So it's right there. I've reviewed the material and looked at parts of it. So we just got to get it together and, make sure everything's correct and get it out the door so people can see what it is we're doing there. This is something we've been asked to do by several different medical providers since they saw what we could do with different types of data, and they wanted to know, could we do it with health data and what we were capable of. And so that's one vertical. The second one we're exploring right now is some financial tech. So the same question had been asked, what can we apply some of the things that we do on the AI side of things, like the one thing that's most interesting to them is the discovery portions of the AI, like what's trending under the surface. And if you haven't seen those particular points, you can go to the websites and take a look. It talks about our discovery engine, and so that's one of the main factors is, can we do something with that? And the answer currently is that's in the R&D phase, and we're working with Shanahan Financial and seeing does that apply in different currency space, cryptocurrency, etc. So that's where we're going with the AI portions of the over the next 2021 or so through the end of the year. Just on a side note, that side of the being able to do those different verticals. And what we're doing is, I mean, the message is that side of the house is expanding. So that's a good thing as far as we're concerned. And so we're going to continue to invest in that and expand it, um, as we deem prudent. So that will move forward. So another person asked, recall that I mentioning that DM was working with Graph blockchain on something. Can you please elaborate? I'll elaborate a little bit, but this is more for Graph to talk about than us. So just so as you guys know, Graph was spun out of DM, and the CEO over at Graph, Paul Haber, has been sitting on our board for a very long time. So they're on a day-to-day basis, like on a week-to-week basis, we collaborate with them quite a bit on various projects and things like that. In fact, we were using some of Graph's expertise and know-how in the financial tech area that I was talking about. We're doing some R&D with. They were actively not contributing to code or anything like that, but they were actively contributing, with their knowledge base. So this goes on quite a bit for any major projects or anything like that, or anything that would be material to those pieces. Those have to come out in press releases. I'm not allowed to talk about that here. Okay. How soon can we expect Metacall to start contributing to the bottom line after its launch? Well, I would hope very soon. That's our goal. There is a good launch plan set up for Metacall. We've been through it. We're ready to hit the ground running. We're working through some last bits and pieces of that. As I said, there'll be materials out about that in the next few weeks. They're being reviewed currently just for accuracy and make sure that everything's properly in place, and then those will be out, and then we'll continue to update that as the materials are available and the product advances. Are there other bids that we're currently bidding on apart from $40 million co-bids? Yes, there's always bids. That one has been in the spotlight for quite some time, though, as it's pretty large, so it gets talked about a lot. What happened with DM owned 25% of Graph blockchain, but is now only being reported as owning 10% of Graph blockchain? Graph had diluted. It's that simple. So they diluted a bit. It doesn't change. It doesn't change what our investment is in there. Has the company considered getting into the market and advertising space? I.e. packaging and selling information to advertising agencies for more successful campaigns or ad buying? Short answer is yes, and we have done this in the past. So there is a way to do this, and we have done it in the past, and we continue to do it with a few other small things. Long answer is it wasn't extraordinarily profitable from when I looked at how it was done over the past 5 to 7 years. That being said, we've got a lot more we can work with now. So it is something that we've kicked about revisiting. Could we contribute more to, online ad targeting, things of that nature? Especially now that the targeting has gotten more difficult due to privacy concerns and things like that. So another couple questions. I'm going to go through one more, and then I'm going to have to probably jump off here. I've got, like I said, I had something happen with family today, and I've got to deal with it. So people are asking about press releases around AI bids, etc. Um, for those particular pieces, again, when it becomes material, it has to go out in a press release. I can't talk about those here. Um, and we have to give that information to everybody at the same time. So I know that gets said a lot in this room, but it is the truth, and there's not much I can do to change that. Um, so another question, it sounds like Datametrex is expanding its business in different directions. What types of hiring are underway to expand the team? Okay, so we've got hiring underway on the development side. We've got hiring underway on the sales side. And we've got hiring underway on the PR customer service side. So all of those are being expanded to fit those needs. And it's going to be necessary for, expanding into the new verticals that we were talking about. So, we've actually just hired a really great developer named David who's coming on board, and we're currently looking for a couple more AI people to bring them into the fold, working on this, in addition to the support staff that I mentioned earlier. So, what are the company's plan for uplisting? Right now, guys, everybody knows we went to the OTC QB. We are always looking at uplisting in different areas. So the board has been exploring this for quite some time. And when they feel the time is right, with all the conditions being met, we'll definitely being uplisted somehow. Now, how the details of all that are going to come out, again, those will have to come out in press releases and such, as I won't be allowed to talk about it here. But do know that the board looks at this on every month. They're very eager to get into this process, but we'll see where that goes. So somebody mentioned it might be worth hiring a COO. We don't have a COO on the corporate structure. That is true. But what we do have is we have people in place that are functioning in that capacity as a day-to-day operating officer, both on the COVID side and on the artificial intelligence side. So that's how we've chosen to attack that particular problem. The reason we chose to do it that way is these are very, very different businesses, and the successful COO person role, however you want to put it, on the COVID side looks very different than what that person's successfully fulfilling that role on the technical side of the fence are. So they're two very different skill sets that need to be there. And so that's why we've kind of divided it and conquered in that capacity. It's just, like I said, it just makes more sense that way. All right. So I think that's going to be all I'm going to be able to get through today. I hope everybody has a good week. We'll be back online next Monday. And yeah, so I'll be around and expect more news as soon as we're ready to put it out. You guys will hear about it, but we're going to keep moving forward. And again, like I said, we're crazy happy with what's going on both sides of the fence, and we're going to keep pushing that forward. Thanks, everybody.